Female, late 20s, RTA. Multiple contusions, possible internal injuries and possible fractured skull. She crashed a car on Goodworth Airfield.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. And possible alcoholic poisoning.
Another drunk driver, like we need the business. She's awake. Relax, dear. You're safe. Can you squeeze my hand? That's good. Other hand? She's losing consciousness. I need a CT scan.
Miss Kingsley, just relax. You're safe. You've been in a road accident.
I can't stay.
I'm afraid you'll have to. You won't be going anywhere for a while.
I'm getting married.
Try to rest. Just try to rest.
Don't! Not the dark! I don't like the dark!
Take it easy, take it easy.
Tell Leo.
Tell Leo what?
I'm sorry. There's so much blood.
Are you going to tell her?
Well, I think that's one for the next of kin.
Morning.
I've got Mr. Adam Kingsley to see Dr. Prothero.
Dr. Prothero is in consultation at the moment. If you'd care to take a seat.
Call him, please.
Morning.
Morning.
So, your daughter first recovered consciousness yesterday. She's quite a fighter.
Yes, I know she is.
Please, take a seat. Her injuries are healing well. Please. The hematoma removed in emergency surgery doesn't seem to have caused any permanent damage.
I want Jane to get well at her own pace, with minimal intervention.
We specialize in post-traumatic recovery.
You will allow her to recover in her own time, Doctor.
She has some memory loss, consistent with diffuse axonal injury. She can't remember any of the events leading up to the accident.
And you need me to fill in the details.
but as gently as possible.
Looking for me? Roll up.
See the freak show?
It's not quite what I had in mind for the wedding.
How are you feeling?
Like shit. Now I'll have to get married in a woolly hat.
Don't worry about that.
Adam, the wedding's on Sunday.
Miss Kingsley, you were unconscious for 8 days.
8?
You can't remember anything. Your car crashed on Goodworth Airfield. You were thrown clear by the impact. I'm told you had rather a lot to drink.
I hardly ever drink, you know that. What was I doing on Goodworth Airfield? Where's Leo?
10 days ago, you announced that the engagement was off, and that Leo was leaving you for Meg.
My Meg?
Well, apparently they've gone to France to get married.
No, 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 no!
Try to stay calm. Come onto the bed. That's it, lie there. Breathe into this. Relax your body. Relax your breathing. About 5 of diazepam. Yeah. You're safe. Relax.
Forget them, Jane. They're history.
Now relax your breathing.
She said she didn't go near the bodies once she realised what they were.
Apart from letting a dog have a go. Dozy cow.
Dr. Clark's ready for you whenever.
Okay. Maybe you should skip this bit, Sergeant.
It's no problem.
Good girl.
One male, one female. He was about 5'10", fair hair. She was about 5'7", shoulder-length fair hair. Late 20s. Hands bound with wire, possibly garden twine. Battered with a heavy blunt instrument. No facial features left, not even teeth. At a guess, I'd say it was a large hammer. Whoever did this didn't just want to kill them, he wanted to wipe out their identities. Would have got covered in blood, of course.
You wouldn't have killed him down there. It's too awkward to swing a hammer. Might have killed him up here and roll the bodies in.
That's possible. We'll check it out. Another thing, someone has disturbed this grave since the bodies were buried.
Witness had a dog?
Someone after wallets and keys. We have no purses, no handbags, no ID of any kind.
What about the killer? Murdered them, panicked, came back late for the credit cards?
Possibly. If he was stupid enough. Okay. Get a team together. Chase up witnesses. And start with the Hook Row estate. It's only 5 minutes away.
Do you want me to cover that?
No. Gary needs experience. You do a description of their clothing for the press release.
The clothing?
All that fashion gear. I wouldn't know half the terms.
Sir.
Yes?
Miles, where are you?
Dad, I'm in a meeting with some clients.
I've just been to see Jane. She's doing fine.
Well, I knew it would take more than a car crash to finish her off.
You should pay her a visit.
Yeah, well, I'll try and fit her in.
Right, look straight at my nose. How many fingers am I holding up?
3. You're very young for a brain surgeon.
I cheated in my exams. Now?
4.
Actually, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm a neuropsychiatrist.
Oh, I see. A psychiatrist.
I help people with head injuries.
You're probably the best in the country. Or Adam wouldn't have arranged for me to come here. Either that or the most expensive.
I'm not cheap, no.
We'll see that the bills are sent to me. I don't want Adam paying for anything.
Thought you might like to see this.
Nice use of flash. Pity about the composition.
Ah, yes, you're a photographer. So, what were you doing in this neck of the woods?
Getting drunk by the looks of things.
Well, you said you hardly ever drink.
Only on special occasions. Does suicide count as a special occasion?
So it was suicide?
Well, isn't that what everyone thinks? I mean, Leo dumped me, so I got drunk and drove my car into a brick wall.
What's the last thing you remember?
Leaving home. Saying goodbye to Leo. Going to the hall, Adam's place, to finalise arrangements for the wedding.
And that was?
Friday. The first Friday in September, and then you, shining a torch in my face.
Well, this happened on Sunday the 12th. So on top of 8 days unconscious, there are 10 days missing.
It doesn't make sense.
You seemed quite upset yesterday morning.
Ring Meg. Ask her.
Well, apparently she's still in France with Leo. No one's been able to reach them. I'm sure they would have been in touch otherwise. Jane? What's the matter? You may get flashes of memory. If you do, we should talk about them. They can help us to reconstruct the sequence of events.
No, thanks. Not interested in therapy. It's a waste of time.
Why do you have so much hostility to the idea?
It's not hostility. It's not resistance. It's not post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm not a lab rat.
That'll be a no, then. Jane, you've...
Jinx. Nobody calls me Jane except Adam.
Well, then, call me Alan.
I'll stick to Dr. Prothero if that's all right.
Jinx, take all the time you need. No one's going to rush you. Your memory will return.
Whether I wanted to or not.
2 bodies found yesterday in Goodworth Forest. Path Lab found stage 3 mature blue bottle maggots. So time of death was 10 days ago. Traces of blood and detritus suggest the victims were bludgeoned to death with a large hammer. The man was killed by a series of blows to the face, delivered from the left. The woman, on the other hand, was killed by a blow to the crown of the head, other blows inflicted after she fell.
So she was kneeling down and the killer stood over her?
That is one possibility. The bodies were then rolled down into the grave.
Dots?
No fingerprint matches so far, and no reports of missing persons matching their profile.
Clothing.
His from Harrods, hers from Armani.
So they weren't short of a few bob, then? Gary.
No footprints or tie marks in the area, but forensics did find fibres on both sets of clothing, from a white Chinese rug and a tortoise-shell cat.
Whoever this killer is, he or she is pretty methodical.
He or she? The faces were mashed to a pulp.
And you think a woman couldn't do that?
We should meet my ex-wife. Right time of the month, she could take out the whole nick. So, couple. Late 20s. She's never given birth. Well, I think we're looking for a jealous lover. Witnesses?
No luck yet, sir.
What's luck got to do with it? Right, I want everyone out there knocking on doors. Find out who's in the area 10 days ago. Not you, Sergeant Blake. Uniforms pulled an old friend of yours this morning.
Bobby Franklin.
Trying to buy a hi-fi with someone else's plastic. Found another set of cards in his house.
In the name of Leo Wallader, 29, Meg Harris, 28.
Who haven't reported their cards stolen. Their mate has been using them for a week.
The couple in the wood?
It's only 5 minutes from Franklin's house. Sir, you reckon he's got the form for murder?
You said luck had nothing to do with it.
Wait. You want in on this interview or not?
Yes, sir.
Then save the smart-ass remarks for the suspect, all right?
So, you told the arresting officer that you found him at a bus stop?
No, I never. He's lying.
So where did you find him then?
I was going to hand him in.
After you bought 6 grand's worth of hi-fi with him.
Piss off.
Bobby, you don't realise what's at stake here, do you? We just dug up 2 corpses from Goodworth Forest. I don't want you to bet those cards belong to them.
I don't know nothing about it.
Well, we think whoever murdered them stole the credit cards.
Look, I never murdered no one. Look, I've changed my mind. I want a brief.
We'll drop the theft charges and go straight to murder then, shall we?
No way. Look, they were dead when I found them, okay? Yeah, I took the cards.
What did you do with the murder weapon?
What?
Bobby, you go through the pockets of 2 rotting corpses, and you're telling us you're not sick enough to kill someone?
No, I didn't.
Bobby, you're going down. 20 years pissing in a bucket.
Jesus Christ.
Where were you Sunday before last?
Well, Sunday, you should know. Well, I was banged up downstairs, wasn't I? Well, you're trying it on.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Franklin.
You haven't got a clue! Hey!
No. Oh, God.
Jinx.
Sorry. Didn't want to wake you.
What are you doing?
Visiting my sister. Love the haircut, by the way.
Did Adam send you?
Do you think I come here just to impress Dad?
Yes.
Jinx, for God's sake, we're family. Wanted to see how you were.
I'm fine. You can go home now.
And I wanted to say sorry. About Meg and Leo. I always knew he was a creep. I never would have thought Meg would pull a stunt like this.
Have you heard from her?
She's not going to call me. She only goes for total shit.
She never really knew you well enough.
Oh, ha, ha, ha. You never really knew her either. Never been much cop at choosing friends, have you? Or men. Just think. All that time you were bailing out Leo, you were spending it on Meg.
Stop it, Miles.
And slipping at the old pork sausage.
Jinx?
Please let me go.
Miss Kingsley? Who are you?
I'm Miles, Jinx's brother.
Get out, Miles. Would you mind waiting outside, please?
What happened? You remembered something?
No!
Then why are you so afraid?
Sup?
Long lunch, Charles?
I was down with traffic.
Oh, they haven't clamped the Bentley again, have they?
Since we weren't getting anywhere with witnesses, I checked out other local reports on Sunday the 12th. A woman tried to kill herself on Goodworth Airfield 2 miles away.
Jane Kingsley. Mm-hmm. Am I missing something?
Miss Jane Jinx Kingsley, daughter to property magnate Adam Kingsley, has called off her engagement only a week before the wedding. Her former fiancé, Leo Wallader, is visiting Provence with Meg Harris, a close friend of the...
Her father's Adam Kingsley.
The Adam Kingsley, sir. Thought you should know.
Go on.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Jane Kingsley announces her marriage to Leo Wallader is off, and that Wallader's gone to France with Meg Harris. The next day, Wallader and Harris are murdered. Kingsley gets drunk, crashes her car into an old testing bay on an airfield 2 miles away.
Do we have the car?
It's a burnt-out shell. It won't tell us anything. But Jane Kingsley's in a private clinic outside Tilmore.
You two know anything about Adam Kingsley?
East End barrel boy. Got into property. Worth a few million. Oh, a bit of a murky past.
Murky's right. Back in the 60s, some sailor knocked up Kingsley's sister. He was found half-beaten to death with a pickaxe handle.
Kingsley?
Where family honour's concerned, he's inclined to take matters into his own hands. Only these days he doesn't use pickaxe handles, he uses lawyers. The minute you go after his daughter, he'll be hitting us with writs for harassment, official complaints, hostile press coverage.
Well, that should make life interesting.
Just you make bloody sure your case is watertight. What have we got on the victims?
Warrants to search their addresses, and we're chasing up next of kin.
And then we'll talk to Jane Kingsley. She's still facing a drink driving charge.
Handle her with kid gloves. Keep me up to date. I want to see all the reports. Susie, a minute. So, how are you finding the murder squad?
It's a challenge.
Keep an eye on this one.
Yes, sir.
He's a good copper. A bit unreconstructed, maybe. You can educate him.
Come in.
Jane, how are you feeling?
I was feeling much better, thanks.
Thank you, Doctor.
Don't go.
It might be preferable to keep our conversation private. No offence.
He stays. I trust him.
The police may want to talk to you about the alleged drink-driving incident. They're unlikely to press charges, as it wasn't on a public highway, but in any case, you should refuse to comment without my being present. If you could cast your eye over these. They're statements I've had drawn up describing the events of Sunday the 12th. Whichever one corresponds most closely to your recollection of events.
This is Adam's idea.
It's purely to save time and, of course, the stress of talking directly to the police.
Which one says I was trying to kill myself?
Your father doesn't feel that's an appropriate interpretation of your motives.
Tell him to forget it.
Your father only wants what's best for you. And as your legal advisor...
You mean Adam's legal advisor? Adam wants what he considers to be best for me. It's not always the same.
As you wish. I'm glad to see you're looking so much better. Doctor.
So, now you see how Adam operates.
You always refer to your father as Adam.
And that's his name.
Not my father, not Daddy?
I haven't called him Daddy for a long time.
Why not?
Because I'm not his little princess anymore.
So you don't love him?
Tell me, do you subscribe to the Freudian or Jungian school of psychoanalysis?
I'm not sure if labels are useful.
Then why try to stick one on me? Do I love my father? Do I secretly lust for him? Did he abuse me as a child, or do I just wish he had?
What do you see in the dark that frightens you so much? You told Greenhall you trusted me.
It shut him up. What works for you?
£20, 10 minutes. You don't like it? Piss off.
Miles Kingsley?
It's me.
Who's me?
Trish Jenkins, you prick. You forgot. Look, what's going on? You said it'd be all over the papers by now.
I said I'd call you.
I want my money.
This isn't a good time.
That bitch Meg Harris, I never heard nothing from her.
Things didn't go the way I'd planned.
Shit, you're just trying to rip me off.
I'm not. Look, I'll spare you a few quid to tide you over, but...
You said it would be thousands.
It will. As long as you keep your head down and your mouth shut. Trust me.
You'll call me, yeah?
Yeah. Bye.
We're making some inquiries about Mr. Leo Wallader. He lives next door with Miss Kingsley.
You'd better come in.
Do you both live at this address?
We're partners. Tilly.
Partners? What sort of partners?
Just partners.
Business partners?
The queer sort of partners.
And when did you last see Miss Kingsley?
Weekend before last. Why? What's happened?
She's been in a car crash, sir.
She's currently recovering in hospital.
It wasn't an accident, was it? It was Sunday morning. Donald heard the dog barking like mad and went to see what was wrong.
Saw fumes pouring out. Piled in here. Found Jinx in a car semi-conscious.
Dragged her out. She said it was an accident. She'd left the engine running while she was looking for something and must have passed out.
And you believed her?
Well, the shutter was half open.
If she'd have wanted to kill herself, she'd have done a better job, we thought.
As soon as she recovered, she rushed off.
Before this suicide attempt, how was she behaving?
Fine. Cheerful.
We heard her singing. She told us she was finally rid of Leo.
We need to get into Miss Kingsley's place. Do you have keys?
Yes, but I'm not
We do have a warrant. It would save us having to kick the door in. I want a search team and forensics up here. Same for Harris's place.
Sarge, 26.
Okay.
What's going on?
De-escalate, sorry, police. Can I ask who you are?
I'm Edith Helms. I live opposite. Police?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Helms. DC Fraser will look after you. Okay?
Try not to let the cat out.
Off-white rug. Tortoiseshell cat.
When was the last time you saw Miss Harris, Mrs. Helms?
About 2 weeks ago. Meg asked me to feed the cat while she and Leo were in France. She said it was all arranged, though it was news to me. I never did see them leave.
Does Miss Harris have any next of kin that you know of?
Well, her mother lives in Surrey. Her father was a vicar. Dead now, poor man.
Right. Thanks very much for your help, Mrs. Helms. If you think of anything else, give us a call.
Oh, you will tell her you've been, won't you? I don't like letting people in without her knowing.
Yes, of course.
What's going on?
Nothing for you to worry your head over, dear.
No, Edith.
Don't get yourself worked up. Oh, honestly, the neighbours will think you're a peeping Tom, staring out of that window all day. Your programme will be on soon.
Edith.
I'll get you some tea.
2 messages.
This is Adam Kingsley. Friday the 10th, 9:50 a.m. We should meet. Call me.
Kingsley?
I think she was working on an article about him.
Meg, hi. It's Jinx. I suppose I should be sticking pins in a wax effigy or something. It's just that my memory's gone. They say it was an accident, except that it wasn't an accident. I was trying to kill myself because of you and Leo, only I don't believe that. Please, I need to speak to one of you before I go insane. I'm in the Earl Hope Clinic, Tilmore, 01483440772. I really want to hear your voice, just to know you're all right. Bye.
Brilliant. Lost her memory. Very convenient.
Bit late to set up an alibi.
Oh. Oh.
Can I help?
No.
Accepting help isn't a sign of weakness, Jane.
I can cope.
Then why the suicide attempt? We have been here before.
And you tried to help me and you just made everything worse.
I can't bear to see you in pain.
Then don't look.
Look, as soon as you're well enough, you must come back to the hall.
I am not having this discussion again.
Your friends betrayed you.
It's none of your business. You know nothing about it.
I know enough, Jane. You need your family.
I need some sleep.
I'll call again in a day or two.
Extremely intelligent, got a first in classics at Oxford. Suffered severe depression following the death of her late husband. Exactly how that happened, these records don't say.
Haven't you got a home to go to? You should be out on the town, taking girls home for a bit of phrenology. Unless you're married, of course. Sorry, I'm prying.
That's okay.
So you're not married?
Jinx, I'll happily tell you all my secrets if you'd only return the compliment.
You don't want to see inside my head.
Your father told me to let you recover at your own pace. I don't think that's the right course of action.
Might be the safest. You don't want to upset Adam.
Why? What will he do to me?
Well, that depends how badly you upset him.
See, we're not talking about your father, are we? We're talking about you. Whenever I touch a nerve, you threaten me with Adam.
Well, threat sounds so convincing when he's involved.
Are you frightened of him? Or frightened of yourself?
Adam's study is just like this.
Adam again?
What frightens me is I might just be the same as him. Mad, bad, and dangerous to know.
Well, you're not mad. At least I've no evidence to suggest it.
Which just leaves the other two.
Jane Kingsley tells the world her wedding's off, and that Wallader and Harris have gone to France. Except they haven't. Next day, Wallader and Harris are taken to the woods and murdered. And Jane Kingsley tries to kill herself twice. Her flat shows signs of a violent struggle. Finally, we're getting somewhere.
We have an address for Meg Harris's mother, and it appears that Harris was working on an article or a book about Adam Kingsley at the time of her death.
Oh, and Jane Kingsley was married before when she lived in Oxford.
The neighbours mentioned it after you left.
Well, what happened to him?
He died a few years ago.
Yes, thank you, Charles. How? Well, find out.
Maybe we should talk to Adam Kingsley. Ask him why he wanted to meet Meg Harris.
Never mind Adam Kingsley. I want you to talk to Mrs. Harris. Break the news about her daughter. And try to show some sensitivity, Sergeant.
Shall I do this?
Do you want to?
Nope.
Neither do I.
When I found out about her and Leo, I was overjoyed.
When was that?
It was late August. Meg and Leo and Jane Kingsley came up for the weekend. There was the most awful row. Leo had wanted to borrow some money from Jane Kingsley, and she went completely insane. She called him all sorts of foul names. And finally, he told her that he'd had enough. He was going to marry Meg. Well, that shut her up. She was furious, of course, but she likes to get her own way.
This was in August. The wedding wasn't called off till September.
Oh, Meg telephoned me after they'd left. She asked me to keep the whole thing secret. She wouldn't say why, but I knew why. Jane Kingsley wanted it that way. She wanted Leo back. And when that didn't work, she... What else can you expect from the daughter of an East End thug?
I really am very sorry, Mrs. Harris.
Oh, God. I'll have to tell Simon.
Simon?
My son. He and Meg were very close. He took over his father's old parish at Hellingdon.
Any numbness?
Mm-mm.
Headaches?
No.
Well, these are healing up nicely. Once your hair grows out, no one will even know they're there.
Apart from me. And you?
Well, they don't bother me.
Mr. Benson's waiting for his assessment, Helen.
Get some rest.
Forget the sodding wedding!
Jinx? Good Lord, you look like death.
It's nothing.
I'm sorry, I should have warned you I was coming, but I wasn't sure if you'd remember me.
Don't be silly. Glad to see you.
I heard about the accident. They told me you lost your memory.
Oh, not lost. Mislaid. They seem to think they can find it. Is this a casual visit, or are you on duty?
Oh, God, casual.
Oh, thank you. They're beautiful. How's Rachel?
She's... Rachel. You know, still hoping I'll make Archbishop someday. Jinx, I wanted to say I'm sorry about May.
No, Simon, you don't have to.
No, really, she's my sister and I'm very fond of her, but this is appalling. Even for her.
It's okay. Honestly, I've forgiven her. I don't want us to fall out over a shit like Leo. Sorry, Reverend. Have you heard from her?
I think she's keeping her head down. And who can blame her?
I need to know she's all right. I keep thinking something's happened to her.
Jinx, you've had a dreadful experience. You really should try not to worry.
I'd like to leave.
I presume this is about the drink driving incident.
We're also looking into some stolen credit cards belonging to Miss Kingsley's ex-fiancé.
You don't think Jinx stole them?
Jinx?
Miss Kingsley.
We're having trouble contacting Mr. Wallader. We thought Miss Kingsley might be able to help.
She has serious head injuries. They've affected her memory.
Any help at all would be useful, Doctor.
Well, okay. But if you don't mind, I'll sit in.
When will Miss Kingsley be ready to leave?
Well, not for a few days. A fractured skull's not like a... Jinx? Jinx, where the hell are you going?
Simon Harris, Meg's brother. We've been trying to reach him.
Yeah, that's all very
Ask him to wait.
Or shouldn't we tell him that?
Not yet.
Seems your former fiancé's credit cards have been stolen.
So, someone's been spending Leo's money. Now he'll know how it feels.
We understand he and Miss Harris went to France. Any idea where?
He has a house in Provence, apparently. I don't have the exact address.
So if Miss Harris is in France, why did you call her London flat?
Because I thought she'd call in to pick up her messages.
I suppose it's not surprising she hasn't called you back. Perhaps she's a bit embarrassed.
How do you know she hasn't called me back?
What does your fiancé do for a living?
My ex-fiancé, please. As little as possible. Apart from the place in France, he has a string of properties all around London. And a condo in Florida.
Miss Harris's mother said Leo asked to borrow money from you. Oh, why would he do that if he's so wealthy?
Because he told me he was broke. Started as soon as he moved in. He was always borrowing money. I never realised just what sort of man he was.
And what sort of man is he?
A lying, conniving parasite. I'm just sorry Meg's lumbered herself with him.
So you were angry with him? Even before he said he was leaving you for Meg Harris? When was the last time you saw them?
Wouldn't it have been when you said goodbye to Leo?
I think it might be better if Miss Kingsley answers for herself.
The start of September. I was going to the hall to finalise arrangements for the wedding.
Miss Harris's mother said you broke up with Leo in August.
And we did have a row, but...
So why all these fond goodbyes at the start of September?
I'm sorry, what did you ask me?
And if Mr. Waller's so tight-fisted, why didn't he cancel his credit cards?
Oh, God. They're dead, aren't they?
I think Miss Kingsley's answered enough questions.
Dead? Why'd you say that?
You searched Meg's flat. You've spoken to her mother. This has nothing to do with credit cards.
We have found 2 bodies, which we believe to be those of your fiancée and Meg Harris.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
This interview is over. Would you please leave?
God. Oh. Oh.
You might have mentioned you were investigating a murder.
Who said anything about a murder?
Well, I presume if these deaths weren't suspicious, you wouldn't have sprung the news in such an unbelievably crass manner.
This is a murder inquiry, yes. Miss Kingsley's a suspect.
She's recovering from a major head injury.
But you seemed well enough to try and discharge yourself a few minutes ago.
Not on my recommendation.
Tell me, Doctor, this loss of memory, is it permanent?
She should make a full recovery if she's spared any more experiences like that one.
But you're certain this amnesia is genuine?
Well, I've no reason to believe otherwise.
Is it consistent with her injuries?
The injury she sustained wouldn't normally be indicative of prolonged amnesia, no. But a lack of physiological basis doesn't mean there isn't some psychological inhibition.
Thank you, Doctor. I think I understand what you're saying.
I don't think you do.
The clothes Miss Kingsley was wearing when she was admitted to casualty. Do you have them?
Yes, but I can't give them to you without her permission.
Oh, yes, you can. Police and Criminal Evidence Act. They're essential to our inquiries.
I knew they were dead. I was there.
They shouldn't have been questioning you in this condition. They suggested you were involved and you believed them.
Is it possible to murder someone and then wipe the experience from your mind?
It's far more likely you feel immense guilt at the death of 2 close friends.
I said, is it possible?
In cases of profound psychosis, yes.
How did they die? Did the police tell you?
No. Jinx, you're going to have to let me help you.
I was married once. A long time ago. His name was Russell. We met when he was my tutor at Oxford. He gave up his tenure to open a gallery, not from choice. Adam dug up some dirt in his past, forced him to resign, to split us up. Russell was jealous to the point of obsession. He demanded to know where I'd been, who I was seeing. We had some fairly ferocious arguments, and I realised too late I'd married my father. We were supposed to be having dinner one evening. And he didn't turn up, so I went to look for him in the gallery. He'd been attacked with a hammer. I could hardly recognize him. There was blood everywhere. He couldn't speak, but he wanted me to kiss him. And I couldn't. I just called an ambulance and held him. And he died.
Did they catch the person responsible?
The police thought Adam was behind it. He'd made no secret of how much he hated Russell.
What did you think?
Months later, I was still having nightmares. So Adam arranged for a therapist. A very expensive one. So expensive, no one realized he was a total quack.
What did this therapist do?
He hypnotized me. Placed a raw steak on my face and woke me up. It smelled of blood and dead meat, and I thought Russell had come back from the grave for his kiss. Since then, I haven't been very keen on therapy. So if you want to probe my mind, you'll have to find some other way.
I always tell people, it's not how your loved ones died, it's how they lived. I never realized how patronizing that sounds. You came here to tell Jinx.
We felt she might be able to offer us some background.
I've known Jinx since we were children. Her and Meg were like sisters. You're not suggesting...
We're not suggesting anything at this stage, Reverend.
I suppose it's because of what happened to Russell.
Who's Russell?
Russell Landy, Jinx's husband.
Got to admire her logic. Shut up with your husband. Skip the divorce courts, reach for the sledgehammer. I'll save a fortune on lawyers.
You think she murdered her husband?
You said our killer was methodical. She certainly had enough practice.
Why try and kill herself?
It's a perfect alibi. You don't mind a few bruises. Wake up in a hospital, tell everybody you've lost your memory. Avoid all the awkward questions. Like if she hated Wallader so much, why marry him? And if he was so mad about money, why would he dump her for Meg Harris?
You asked for Jane Kingsley's clothes.
Hard to believe one person could bleed this much, isn't it?
May I speak to Adam Kingsley, please?
Kingsley.
Yes, hello, it's Alan Prothero here. I thought you ought to know the police have been to see Jinx. It seems that her fiancé and Meg Harris have been murdered. And they consider her a prime suspect.
Thanks for letting me know, Doctor. I'll send Andrew down straight away.
With respect, a lawyer isn't what she needs right now.
What do you have in mind?
I wondered if you'd be willing to help. The news has put her under tremendous stress. She appears to be carrying an enormous burden of guilt, especially as her late husband died in such violent circumstances. if we do nothing, it may well cause further trauma.
What do you have in mind?
Well, a chat between you and Jinx where I would sit in. To help us all understand her past.
You want to psychoanalyze me, Doctor?
No, of course not. But another perspective on the events might...
You have been instructed to let Jane recover in her own good time. Can you manage that?
Certainly, and I would if I thought it was the appropriate...
If Jane is unwilling to discuss her past with you, I certainly won't.
I understand Jinx has her reasons for refusing to cooperate. I'm just not completely
Good night,
clear on
Dr. Brotherhood.
Yours are.
Get on to Mitchell at Scotland Yard, see what sort of a case they have. And no more unsupervised interviews.
Jane might not accept our help.
Then don't let her know. We're helping her.
This is a disaster.
Shut up, Miles.
I'm only thinking of you. What if she's guilty?
She isn't.
How do you know?
Because I said so.
Caroline called to tell me about Meg. I'm so sorry.
She was no angel, but she didn't deserve to die.
Oh, my poor darling.
We parted on such bad terms. I was so angry with her about Leo and Jinx.
Meg would have forgiven you. You know what she was like.
You never really liked her, did you?
Of course I did. She was your sister.
You tried to hide it, but she knew.
Simon.
Please. I need to be on my own right now. Just for a little while.
Russell Landing. 20 years her senior. 6 months after they married, he was murdered. No, it wasn't a robbery. Art thieves don't normally take lump hammers on the job. He had no known enemies.
Apart from Kingsley, who called him a sick little cradle snatcher.
Kingsley had an alibi.
So maybe he hired someone.
Adam Kingsley doesn't hire people who make this sort of mess. The exhibition in progress at the time was Jane Kingsley's work. Her speciality was glamorous stars in seedy settings. After the murder, she cut back on the glamour. In one interview, she described her work as cathartic. As Charlie will tell you, that's a posh word for making you want to throw up.
Actually, that's not exactly...
Shut up, shut up. Now, Jane Kingsley says she's suffering from amnesia, though even her pet doctor says there's no reason why she should be. Her story's full of holes, and she's blaming them all on memory loss. She's bright, she's pretty, she's a great actress. Chances are she's psychotic. Now, we need to find out exactly what happened in the week preceding the murders. Wallader had no next of kin. So he's been buried this morning with Meg Harris. We'll talk to the mourners. Okay.
What if Adam Kingsley turns up?
If anyone's going to ask Adam Kingsley questions, it's going to be me. Do you understand?
Delivery from Miss Jane Kingsley.
I'm sorry, we haven't been notified of any delivery.
It's okay.
Your cards. Agnes.
I need to speak to Dr. Prothero.
I'm not sure about the hat. You're not well enough to leave.
I'm going to a funeral. Meg and Leo are being buried today. If you want me to sign a form, I'll sign a form.
I can't stop you.
Will you drive me? I don't think I can manage it right now.
Jinx, I have a clinic to run.
Well, then you don't have to ask permission.
Are you sure about this?
You'll be fine.
It's not us I'm worried about. This woman's a patient.
And she needs my help. Look, she can't face conventional therapy. This funeral might be a chance to break through.
Alan, she's implicated in a murder. She could be dangerous.
I have my pager. Roger's going to cover for me. She's not dangerous.
May your perpetual light shine upon them, and through the mercy of God, may they rest in peace. Amen.
What a remarkable recovery.
She insisted on being here.
If she's well enough to be here, she's well enough to be questioned.
Questioned, maybe. Interrogated, no.
Touch her. The way you protect her.
I'm her doctor.
That must be awkward. There are rules, aren't there, Doctor? Against getting personally involved with your patients?
You know, most professions are lively imaginations and asset. In a policeman, I find it rather worrying.
Did I touch a nerve? You shouldn't be here.
You're not responsible for me anymore, Adam.
And who is? Is this what you mean by taking care of Jane?
I discharged myself. Alan insisted on coming with me.
I'm not paying you to indulge my daughter's whims.
You're not paying me to keep her in prison either.
You're coming back to the hall.
Mr. Kingsley, DS Blake, sorry, please. Can I ask you why you're here?
Nope.
Ms. Harris was working on an article about you at the time of her death.
Was she?
You wanted to talk to her. What about?
I've no idea.
How would you describe your relationship with Ms. Harris?
I didn't have one. Good day.
Jane! You couldn't bear to think that Leo might love her instead of you. You wanted them dead. You killed them, you evil, murdering bitch!
Mother. Caroline, please.
Don't touch me! I couldn't even see her face! I couldn't even kiss my mate goodbye!
God. They died the same way as Russell. What have I done?
Aren't you going to come in? Thought I was your most fascinating case.
I don't do house calls.
I just buried my two closest friends. I could use some company.
Meg and Leo.
Jinx, something terrible happened. We don't know if you're to blame. You might have witnessed it. You might even have been a victim.
Meg and Leo are dead and I'm still alive.
That doesn't mean you killed them.
Oh. Clinical detachment is one thing. Wishful thinking is something else.
Do you know, I could almost forget anything happened here if I could remember it in the first place.
Could you?
You think if you tidy up my living room, I'll let you tidy up my mind?
I've never been interested in tidy minds. But I don't enjoy picking my way through broken glass either. Does being here set off any associations?
No.
If the recent past is too painful, we can start further back.
Like a previous incarnation?
Yes. I was thinking of your previous incarnation as Mrs. Russell Landy.
After Russell died, I couldn't cope. Adam stepped in, as always, sold the flat, packed up our stuff, moved it to Hellingdon Hall. As far as I know, it's still there.
You never looked at it since?
I never wanted to.
What did you think you'd find?
Apparently, Meg Harris was working on an article about Dad when she was killed.
Really?
Didn't Dad tell you about it?
I wasn't aware he'd told you.
What happens if the police suspect a connection?
Why should they?
Because that's the way their minds work. Maybe she came up with an angle he didn't like. Look, you know what Adam's like when he loses his temper?
How did you know about this article?
It's my job to know. You think you're safe, don't you?
The ancestral home. It's been in the family, 30 years.
Magnificent.
It's a monstrosity.
Good day, Miss Kingsley.
Good day, William.
So?
Would you say you had a happy child?
Yes, of course. Adam insisted on it.
Where did you go to school?
Adam arranged private tuition, so his children would always be near him.
Who was your mother?
My mother. Oh, Mummy died giving birth to Miles. Miles never stood a chance. This was my room. Belonged to a little girl called Jane. Do you know that some nights I'd lie awake, waiting for the stairs to creak, praying they wouldn't?
Your father?
When I heard him, I'd switch my light off and pretend to be asleep. He'd come in, sit on my bed and watch me sleep. Just watch me, that's all. Oh, I see. You think I've missed something?
Well, as you know, the mind can protect itself in moments of extreme stress by repressing unpleasant memories. I'm not saying that's what happened here.
What? Perhaps I made the whole thing up. What would that tell you? The tomb of the late Mrs. Russell Landy.
Okay, let's start with letters and diaries. Did Russell keep a diary?
Russell? Just a few modest scribbles. Felt he owed it to posterity.
Good afternoon, madam.
Thanks for seeing us again, Mrs. Harris. We understand how distressed you must be.
How could you let that woman come to my daughter's funeral? Why isn't she under arrest?
It does take time to prepare a case, madam.
It's Kingsley, isn't it? That's all that matters, money. My daughter's life means nothing.
Mrs. Harris, we need to be sure of the facts.
How long had Meg and Leo been seeing each other?
They'd known each other for years. Meg introduced Leo to Jinx.
I mean, how long had they been having an affair?
What are you implying? My Meg would... She had too much self-respect for that sort of thing. My daughter lies murdered and you come here.
Caroline, it's all right.
It was a bloody waste of time.
So she's a bit naive about her daughter.
Naive? She's not naive, she's deluded. Put her on the stand, Jane Kingsley will walk. She'll end up in a padded cell.
June the 8th.
Oh, 3 weeks before he died.
Made quite a splash at Sasha's party. Every head turned when I entered the room. Still got the arse for Levi's, thank God.
I remember.
You were there? Doesn't mention you once.
Russell was a little vain.
Dear Cowboy.
Well, that was Meg's pet name for him.
Meg knew Russell?
Yes, of course.
Dear Cowboy, everything's been sorted. I was in and out of the clinic in the morning. You're very sweet to pay for the operation, but maybe we should cool off for a while before Jinx finds out.
She's talking about an abortion. Why would Russell pay for an abortion unless...
Jinx.
I knew about their affair.
You never read those.
I must have found out.
Couldn't have been you. You were at
What
the
with
restaurant.
Meg? Ask her.
Nothing in there will help you, Jane.
You knew about Meg and Russell. You knew they were having an affair, yet you never said anything to me.
You have some intelligence. You would have found out for yourself.
And I did, didn't I? That's why you packed all my things and buried them here. You wanted to wipe out the past.
You'd suffered enough. I was trying to protect you.
From whom? Myself?
Is this part of your technique, Doctor? You think he cares for you? You're just a case history to him. Promising conference material.
I'm here as her friend as well as her doctor.
Very altruistic. Pity such a brilliant career will be cut short by charges of malpractice. Jane, I can still help you.
Hello, Reverend Harris. Your wife said you'd be here.
Come in. I came to sort out Meg's effects.
Sorry to disturb you at a time like this.
We just wanted to ask you a few routine questions, Reverend. When was the last time you saw your sister?
The start of August. No, sit down. I phoned her once or twice after that.
Did you know about her and Leo?
Yes. But Jinx wanted to keep everything secret, so...
How did you feel about that?
I thought it was pretty rough on Jinx.
What about other boyfriends? Did she have many?
Meg was no angel. She loved having fun.
Your sister does sound rather,
Promiscuous. Yes, she was.
Your mother doesn't seem to think so.
Her mother has very strict views about sex.
What about you? Surely you didn't approve of her behavior.
Whether I approved or disapproved made no difference to Meg. She lived her own life.
Whose is the computer?
Meg's. She kept it hidden after the last one got stolen.
Looks like someone on the search team wasn't paying attention, Sergeant.
It might be relevant as evidence. We'll let you have it back as soon as possible.
Was Meg seeing anyone apart from Leo?
No. There was no one in her life but Leo. Not man Jinx.
The notes are all encrypted. I'll get it sent up to IT.
Oh, forget it. Give it back to Harris.
Well, what if this is all about work and nothing to do with her personal life?
Adam Kingsley.
Maybe she found out something he didn't want the world to know about.
So he kills her and her boyfriend?
Or hires someone else too, and they cover it up by making it look like a crime of passion.
For which Kingsley lets his daughter take the blame?
Maybe she witnessed it. Couldn't live with what she'd seen.
Either way, this hitman's pretty crap. You won't find the answers in that lot.
Maybe we should talk to Adam Kingsley.
Maybe I will.
When?
When I've got a decent picture of the victim's movements.
Why would Meg have given you an alibi for the murder of Russell? Why would you have killed him and spared her?
She was my friend.
She slept with your husband. She stole your fiancé.
I still loved her. I had the same motive for both murders. Besides, you know, it wasn't her fault. I mean, we were always drawn to Meg. She was so sexual, so full of life. Even when we were kids, she had the local boys falling over themselves, and Miles following her around like a lovesick puppy.
You envied her.
She envied me. She said we were changelings. She should have been the millionaire's daughter in the mansion.
Maybe that's why she took your men.
My men. She was welcome to them. Why do I always end up with such total bastards?
Doesn't always have to be that way. Thanks.
We heard glass breaking. God almighty.
It's not mine. It's his.
You've had the stuff for 2 days. Well, how long does a DNA test take?
Fine, okay, yes, thank you. As soon as you can.
Sir?
What?
Someone attacked Prothero last night while he was staying at Jane Kingsley's place.
There is a God.
Reverend Harris.
Mr. Greenhall. Hello.
How's Adam?
Oh, fine, thank you. He sends his regards.
I didn't get a chance to speak to him at the funeral. And this place would be a heap of rubble were it not for him.
Mr. Kingsley's always been very eager to put something back into the community. Oh, my condolences, by the way.
Thank you.
You and your wife must be heartbroken.
But did you know Meg?
Only by reputation. I hear she was a very fine journalist. I also hear she was writing a profile on Adam, and that she may have been using some less than reliable sources for her material. There are many people who'd be willing to tell lies about Mr. Kingsley if they thought there was money in it.
I'm sure that's true, but I have no idea who her sources were.
Perhaps that's just as well. Such a peaceful place. I'd like to sit here for a while, if that's all right.
Morning.
Morning. May I have my clothes, please?
The doctor will see you soon.
No, I am a doctor. I'm feeling fine. I'm a consultant.
Dr. Brother.
No grapes?
This isn't a social call, Dr. Prothero. We wanted to know more about this assault.
I've already made a statement.
Yeah, I've seen it. You say an intruder attacked you with a standard lamp.
But he panicked when a window was broken.
Which roused the fairies at the bottom of the garden.
If you mean Jinx's neighbours, yes.
They didn't see anyone fleeing the scene.
It was dark.
And your description of this assailant is a little vague.
He was dressed in black.
He?
It wasn't Jane Kingsley.
I didn't say it was.
Why would Jinx attack me?
Well, I don't know, Doctor. You're the expert. Perhaps it's some psychosexual thing. And two of her previous lovers were beaten to death.
I am not her lover.
Who else was in her apartment last night, Doctor? I'm sure you've thought long and hard about this. I just wonder if you've been thinking with the right part of your anatomy.
Sir?
Are those for Dr. Prothero? Oh, how thoughtful. Could you spare us a moment? Where were you during this attack?
Upstairs, asleep.
While Dr. Prothero and this intruder fought a duel in your living room.
I'd taken some sleeping pills.
Your neighbours didn't see anyone running away. And when they arrived, the door was locked. Doesn't that strike you as odd?
I don't remember much about it. I was so woozy from the drugs.
Then you don't remember how you got blood all over your hands.
I must have tried to help him.
It's all so confusing, isn't it? Perhaps we should discuss it down at the station.
Are you arresting me?
Only if you want us to. Six years ago, your husband was beaten to death. 2 weeks ago, your fiancée and best friend. Last night, it was Dr. Prothero's turn. And the only person linking these attacks is you.
It wasn't me.
You said you didn't remember.
I don't.
Then how do you know? This husband of yours, Russell, why did he need his head bashed in? Maybe he played the field a bit, did he? All right, let's talk about Meg and Leo. Now, you broke up with Leo in August, but you told everybody to keep it hushed up. Why?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. And how about this? You wanted Leo back, but it didn't work out. And when you realized you'd finally lost him, you went round to see them, knocked them out, took them down to the woods and brained them. Then you tried to fake a suicide and made up some cock and bull story about amnesia. And when Prothero gets close to the truth, you try and sort him out as well.
Inspector, you have no evidence for these charges, and hectoring my client isn't going to produce any.
One bag containing blood-stained clothing. Yours, Miss Kingsley. Tests will prove there's other blood in there. Meg's and Leo's. Why put yourself through this torture? Why not save us all a lot of grief, eh?
I need to confer with my client.
Yes, you do. Interview suspended, 11:40 a.m.
Perhaps you should consider a plea of manslaughter. We can arrange for psychiatric reports.
You want me to plead insanity?
Diminished responsibility. Trust me, Jane. My client wishes to make a statement.
Mr. Greenhall is no longer acting for me.
Jane.
Could you please leave?
Interview resumes, 11:42 a.m. Solicitor Andrew Greenhall is no longer present. Ms. Kingsley, would you like a duty solicitor?
No.
Fine. Start again at the beginning.
You said I was the only link between these murders. That's not true. Meg was having an affair with Russell just before he died.
Well, that takes care of your motive.
What if the killer was someone obsessed with Meg who resented her lovers?
Meg had dozens of lovers. There's no evidence there was anyone else in her life recently apart from you and Leo. And somehow I don't think it was Leo.
This man loved her so much. Why kill her as well?
And why attack Prothero?
Because he thinks I'm going to remember who he is. He wanted to kill me and make it look like suicide.
Well, if you'd bashed your own head in with a standard lamp, we might have begun to suspect something.
That wasn't the plan. He didn't expect to find Prothero.
Not now.
Sir.
Not now!
Now. The results of the blood test. There's only one person's DNA on that clothing, and it's hers.
Well, she must have been wearing waterproofs or overalls or something.
Well, either that or she wasn't involved.
She did it.
Look, I still think this article Harris
Spare me your women's intuition.
We could charge her with assault on Prothero.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Well, either that or you let her go.
Thanks for your help, Ms. Kingsley. We'll speak again soon. That's all for now.
How are you?
Fine. What happened last night?
God, all I remember is kneeling over you and then Donald banging on the door.
Did they believe you?
I didn't believe it myself. You mustn't stay with me anymore.
What are you saying?
Look, what if it was me who tried to kill you?
Well, then I'd like to know why.
I might try again.
Well, I'm willing to risk it if you are. Jinx, you've got to trust me.
Oh, please, no, not hypnosis.
You know how much it frightens you?
No, you don't.
Your former client's buggered off home.
Inspector, a word. What's your opinion?
She's as mad as a bag of rats and guilty as sin.
The evidence is inconclusive.
We'll get more evidence. Probably just after she's finished off that nice Dr. Prothero.
Persistence is commendable, Inspector. Harassment isn't.
It's true. I don't like the way you're harassing me at the moment.
I'd gladly leave you in peace if I thought you'd do the same for Jane.
Why would I want to do that?
Because Adam Kingsley would be extremely grateful.
Would he? Has he got an alibi for Sunday the 12th?
Of course. I'll send you the details.
You do that. And after I've nailed this little girl for murder, I'll do you and him for conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. How does that sound?
Lovely talking to you, Inspector.
Take your shoes off. Sit down and relax.
You sure you don't have any raw steak hidden anywhere?
Sit down and close your eyes.
The other guy used a pocket watch.
Jinx, I know you're frightened. I won't let anything happen to you. Promise. And breathe deeply. Close your eyes. Now, breathe deeply. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Focus on your breath. Okay. You're standing at the top of a long flight of stairs. I want you to start walking steadily down the stairs. And with each step, you're becoming more relaxed. More deeply relaxed.
That's very discreet.
Hardly matters the way you eat shooting your mouth off. If this gets out now, we'll all be in serious shit.
So how am I going to get my money?
Look, Meg Harris is dead.
Tough. You just have to find someone else.
No. Not yet.
All right, then, I will.
Did you hear me? She's dead. Murdered. Someone took a big hammer and smashed her head, and you could be next.
You've lost it, haven't you? You never had the bottle for this. You and your limp little dick.
Listen to me, you little bitch!
Piss off! I don't need you anymore, you wanker!
We're at Meg's mother's place. He wants to borrow money. Says he needs it to pay some debts. I ask him about the income from his property and he's furious.
I don't understand. You've been touching me for money since we met.
Oh, Christ, you've got plenty.
What am I? Just some sex and cash
I can't believe you've been going through my letters.
So try spending some on your own. You pompous, arrogant, lying, swindling piece of shit!
That's right, damage other people's money.
Other people's property!
Stupid cow!
Patronising prick!
Please. I don't have to put up with this.
Don't be hasty, Leo. That's 22 carat
Oh,
gold!
forget the sodding wedding. Forget the whole damn thing, okay? Yeah, laugh. Meg and I are getting married.
Jinx, no, you're kidding.
I'm going to marry Meg, okay? At least she's not a stuck-up, nosy, tight-fisted little bitch like you.
Jinx, I'm sorry, really. But he's my pussycat. I've always loved him. I just didn't realise it. Ah.
She's dead. I know it before she even speaks. They both are. Just like Russell. Don't tell Adam. We mustn't tell Adam. I go down to Hellingdon Hall, carry on making arrangements for the wedding. Carry on making arrangements for the wedding. We'll time the announcement for after you've gone to France. Please, indulge me, okay? I'm begging you. Over the next week, he moves out, takes all his stuff and a lot of mine. I do feel sorry. Sorry for Meg. She's so happy, but I know Leah's doing all this just to spite me, and deep down I think she deserves it, and we tell no one. Not family, not friends. Friday, they've gone to France. I have to feed the cat.
Jinx.
Pussycat. Don't. Your father's asked me to meet him on Monday. It's no big deal. We'll leave on Monday afternoon.
Adam, but the announcement's going out tomorrow.
So everyone will think we're in France. What's the problem?
Saturday, there's a notice in the paper. Invitations are cancelled. Friends call
I try to sound shocked and upset. Don't make a very good job of it. I go shopping for shoes, buy a tub of ice cream, rent a video. Leo hates staying at home Saturday nights and he hates lying in, so next morning I'm up really late. I'm making some coffee and the doorbell rings.
Who's at the door?
The doorbell rings. The doorbell rings. I can't breathe.
Come out, James. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. You're out now. You're out now. You're safe. It's okay.
Oh.
Do we really have time for this? We're supposed to be interviewing Jane Kingsley's neighbours.
We tried. They went in.
Sergeant Blake and Constable Fraser.
Sorry to bother you again, Reverend.
Not at all. Any luck with the computer?
Your sister encrypted her notes. We can't read them without a password.
Her middle name was Louise, if that's any use.
Why did she need to encrypt them? I mean, this article about Adam Kingsley. It's hardly earth-shattering stuff, was it?
I wouldn't know. She did mention that she had some material, but that might be worth a lot of money. But then she always said that.
To a tabloid. That's who she usually worked for, isn't it? And they only pay for scandal.
Sergeant, even if I did know, I couldn't tell you. My job carries an absolute duty of confidence, just like yours.
I was so sure I remembered saying goodbye to Leo and it never happened.
Confabulation. You prepared a story for everyone else, and after the accident, you believed it was the truth.
So what other memories have I invented?
None of this was invented. Someone else was here that Sunday morning.
But who?
He said, don't tell Adam. We mustn't tell Adam why.
I knew how much he hated Russell.
Enough to want to kill him?
Yes. But I never wanted to face that possibility. And then when Leo said he wanted to marry Meg, I thought the same thing would happen to them.
And it did.
Please. It wasn't my father.
Would you rather it was you?
The police have asked me where you were when Meg Harris was murdered. I'd like to be able to give them an alibi.
I'm sure you would. So do it.
Mrs. Helms. It's Jinx. Jinx Kingsley, Meg's friend.
Oh, hello, dear, of course.
Do you think we could come in?
Yes, come in. Sorry.
How's Mr. Helms?
Oh, much the same, I'm afraid.
Mr. Helms has MS. Oh, excuse me, this is a good friend of mine, Dr. Prothero.
Oh, how do you do? It's so sad. He used to be such a busy little thing.
Mrs. Helms, when was the last time you saw Meg?
When she asked me to feed the cat. She told me it was locked in and I was to look after it.
Did you see anyone call at her flat?
Weekends are much the same to me, I'm afraid. We don't get out much these days.
Not much of a view.
You'd be surprised.
Hi, I'm Alan. Alan Prothero.
Please, don't bother Terence. It's best if he's not bothered.
Her boyfriend, Leo, he was back and forth all that week.
Did you see anyone visit the weekend they disappeared?
You, Saturday, you had a screaming match with Meg. Quite a temper.
What about Sunday?
No. Edith moved me.
Well, I don't like to leave him in the window too long. Neighbours will think I'm not looking after him.
Oh, yes.
Did you see Meg when she came here on Sunday?
I heard her. She said, "Pussycat needs you."
Pussycat. She said pussycat.
Pussycat needs you.
Pussycat was Leo. Meg was asking for help.
She must have been desperate.
Someone was in there, listening.
And whoever that was drove you to the airfield. Let's talk about the crash. You took off from a standing start.
Straight into a wall at 90 miles an hour.
So, you floored the accelerator, took your foot off the clutch.
No clutch, it was an automatic.
Okay. So you floored the brake. Then the accelerator, lifted your foot from the brake and the car took off. And then you were thrown clear by the impact. How did you get thrown from a car moving in a straight line?
Maybe I lost my nerve and jumped.
Well, you didn't lose your nerve and brake? Or swerve? No. No, you opened the door and jumped from a car doing 90 miles an hour.
Pedals were wedged. They found bottles in the footwell.
Okay. So the killer jammed the steering, jacked up the car, poured drink down your throat, put you into the driver's seat, kicked away the jack, and the car took off.
Well, he must have seen me jump out. Why didn't he try again?
Because then it wouldn't have been suicide. Maybe he thought you were dead.
Yeah.
I'm off. To talk to Kingsley's neighbours?
Didn't you speak to them this morning?
Yeah, we tried, but they weren't in.
Thanks, Gary. So. Come in, Sergeant. Shut the door. You're a woman of exceptional ability. Lots of drive. Lots of initiative. 2 weeks on the murder squad, you're running your own investigation. Shiva gets these little crushes, you know, on bright young things. And you think if I give you a hard time, he's going to beat me up and steal my lunch money. Well, he can't. Because I'm a real copper, not a glorified accountant. I trust my instincts. I get results. Now, Jane Kingsley murdered those two and her husband, and I'm going to nail her.
I see. I have feminine intuition, but you have instincts. Are you ever going to talk to Adam Kingsley? Or has he got something on you?
I've just received a fax from his solicitor. Adam Kingsley had 3 alibis for Sunday the 12th of September, including an MP.
Kingsley can buy all the alibis he wants.
Thank you, Sergeant. Your assistance is no longer required.
Sarge, I just wanted to... I'm sorry.
It's a greasy pole, Gary. And some of us are more greasy than others.
Baker?
Trish? I haven't seen you in years. How's your mother?
God knows.
And how's life in the city?
Fantastic. Making lots of new friends.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, is it true about your sister? Her and her boyfriend got murdered.
Yes.
Shit. What poxy luck. She was a pal of, what's her name? Kingsley, wasn't she?
Jane Kingsley, yes.
So where does she live then?
London, why?
I thought I'd look her up. Commiserate, you know.
She's in the book. Trish, Meg mentioned a story about someone in this parish. Were you involved?
Might have been.
Hello. Trish, isn't it?
Gotta go. See you, Rev. Me. You Jinx? Yes. Maybe I can help you.
Who are you?
Trish. All my clients call me Trish. Well, most of them. Anyway, how much is it worth then? The truth about your daddy.
I think I can guess the rest. And it's not worth paying for.
Suit yourself. Be all over the papers in a few days anyway.
What do you want?
Money.
Here. So, how do you know Adam?
Used to be a client.
How old are you, Trish?
19. Of course, when I met him, I was only 15.
How did you meet him?
I used to live in Hellingdon. He said I reminded him of someone. He used to call me Jinx while we was doing it. And I had to call him Daddy. He was a bit of a goer for his age.
She's lying. These are all lies.
He has a scar right here on his hip from a knife fight in the East End when he was 15.
How often did you meet him?
Whenever he stayed in London. He'd sort out my train fare. I'd be waiting at his flat. He even gave me a key. Lovely place. All marble and mahogany. Very sexy.
Did anyone see you there?
I'm not that stupid. I met your friend Meg Harris. She was doing a piece on working girls. Asked me how I started on the game. I told her about Kingsley. Thought I might as well cash in. She said it could destroy your dad. And now she's dead. Funny that, isn't it?
So how come you're not?
Because I kept my mouth shut. Meg told me to. People say my family is screwed up. We're nothing compared to you lot. You haven't signed this.
I'm so sorry.
You sneaky little bitch! Get out! I'm gonna destroy your dad. Not if I do it first!
Morning. Good morning, Miss Kingsley.
Good morning.
You a shareholder, sir?
Well, I'm with her.
Jane,
I want to speak to Adam.
the AGM is due to start in 7 minutes.
I can talk to him privately, or I can ask him a question from the floor. Which would you prefer?
I have several hundred shareholders waiting, Jane, so I hope you'll keep this brief.
You paid a teenager named Trish to call you Daddy while you screwed her. Is that brief enough?
Who told you this?
I deserve some straight answers, Adam.
Straight answer. Very well, it's a lie. I don't know any girl called Trish.
She knows about the scar on your hip. She's got a key to your flat. She described the furnishings. You called her Jinx.
This is fantasy.
You used to come into my bedroom at night. Is that fantasy?
This is not something we should discuss in public.
This isn't public yet.
I watched you sleep. Nothing more. Perhaps you believe there's something else. Called false memory, isn't it? When a so-called therapist persuades their patient they've been abused, you've exceeded your remit, Doctor.
Don't you dare threaten him. You heard Meg had found out. That's why you asked for a meeting, so she couldn't go to France. You had her killed. Leo's with her, you killed him too, and what about me?
These allegations are utterly false. If you repeat them, we'll sue you for libel.
No, we won't. If I've done anything wrong, it's been trying to save you from your own mistakes. But if you despise me so much, if you really think I'm capable of doing such things as you say, then I'm not sure I can stop you. Not sure I want to try.
Jesus, Jinx, you can't! It'll destroy him. And all over some slapper from the village.
Meg is dead, Miles. And Leo. And I was very nearly murdered too.
God almighty. Look, you just do what you have to. Never much of a family anyway, were we?
Adam never calls me Jinx. How did you know she was from Hellingdon? Trish, you called her a slapper from the village?
I don't know. You must have...
No, I never said that. If anyone could supply all those details about Adam, give her a key to his flat, it'd be you.
Jesus, Jinx, you're being paranoid.
It's not paranoia when someone tries to kill you. So what, you concocted the whole story and tried to sell it to Meg, but she didn't believe you. Did she threaten to tell Adam about your seedy little game? God, do you really hate him that much, and me as well?
Mr. Kingsley?
What?
Could I have a word, sir?
Piss off. Get off! Get off! Get off, bitch!
Let's keep this polite, shall we, sir? Miles Kingsley's been wasting my bloody time. He was paying a prostitute to tell Meg stories about his father. And she found out.
Well, congratulations.
What's this about an arrest?
Blake's managed to crack the code to Harris's note, sir. Seems Miles Kingsley had a strong motive.
I thought you were off the case.
We're sorted.
I never expected the story to stand up. I just hoped enough mud would stick so he'd have to resign. For years he put me down, taking the piss. The harder I worked, the worse it got. It was always, look what Jane's doing now. Jane's gone out and made a name for herself. Jane, Sonic Jane! She despises him. She's disowned him. And he worships her for it.
So you invented a scandal?
I thought Meg understood the deal, wouldn't ask too many questions. I thought she'd be grateful. This story could have made her.
Sit down, sir. And you hope she'd show her appreciation?
Ever since I've been 12, I was trying to impress her. Her best friend's little brother. Must have been right tit of myself. She also had a bloody awful boyfriend. That wanker Russell. And Leo, he didn't give a shit about her. She phoned me on Friday. Told me to shove the story and that she and Leo were leaving for France.
How did you feel about that?
I went to her flat.
What happened when you went to her flat?
They'd already gone.
When did you kill her and Leo?
What? I didn't kill her. Or Leo. I could never have done that, not to Meg. It wasn't me!
Who was it then?
I remember something Meg said to me. One thing that would make her career would be the inside story on a murder.
When the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers. Oscar Wilde.
Yes, of course.
That reminds me, I have something for you. She wanted you to have this.
Meg always used to say the pen was mightier than the camera.
Has it all come back to you now?
Bits of it, yes.
It will. In time. Imagine the shock of being attacked by someone so close.
Miles, of all people. She caused so much grief, didn't she? With her selfishness and her loose ways.
Don't be angry at her. For all her faults, I know she still loved you.
Love. What would a woman like her know about love? Love isn't about sleeping with every man in sight. It's about commitment. It's about self-denial.
James?
It's about sacrifice.
Be quiet!
Just be quiet.
He's got nothing to do with this.
Then he shouldn't be here.
Simon, get off! Oh, my...
Simon, please.
Shut up!
You won't be able to breathe.
He doesn't need to breathe.
Meg, it's Jinx. Meg, listen,
This isn't Meg. I must say, I'm surprised to hear from you.
Don't hurt them.
It's too late.
No, look. I'll come over. We can talk this out.
Leo! Jesus!
Jinx, no blasphemy! Meg said the neighbors are expecting her. I had to be sure she'd come back. Pardon the formal dress. I know it's intimidating, but it hides a multitude of sins.
Where's Alan?
In the boot of your car. Don't worry, he'll be quite safe. For the time being. My parishioners think the world of me. They come to me with their sordid little secrets. Although, I've always enjoyed confessions. The very first ones I heard were Meg's. Those early fumblings with the village boys. As long as you told me about it, I could offer up the pain. But you stopped trusting me.
Simon, please.
You tried to keep Russell a secret, but I found out he told me. I would have shared you, Meg. But I won't let anyone take you away from me.
Simon. Simon, this isn't going to help.
You want me so much. You can have me. I'm here. Take me.
Take you. Take you? You're a whore. Do you hear me? Worthless, lying whore.
Simon!
Communion wine. Hardly vintage, but it dulls the pain. Drink this in memory of me.
Lived there all my life.
And Meg died because you blamed her for your sins, and killing her ended all.
No, but killing you will.
He missed the services that Sunday. Got the rector to cover for him.
He said he had a sick friend he had to see up in London. And he got back very late. Didn't mention his friend.
You must have suspected something.
He was a good husband. It's her fault. She did such a good job at screwing up Meg.
Hi.
Alan, hi.
Yeah, I was in town for a conference and I thought, you have hair.
Tell me it's an improvement.
No, well, actually, I do have this thing about shaved heads. Don't be daft, of course it is. Were you going out?
Yeah, work.
Wow, place has changed a bit.
Yes, well, I had enough of monochrome death and decay. All that's out of my system, you know. I've even managed to talk things through with Adam.
Glad to hear it.
Though, maybe you should steer clear of him for a while. Well, he thinks I formed a fixation on you.
It's called transference. You'll get over it.
You think so?
Hope not.
So, you're, off to some conference?
Conference? What conference?
Good. Good. You can be my assistant.
Where to?
Kew Gardens. And I'm driving.